Today's date, or tonight's date, is September 6th, 2021. It is a day I will never forget because this marks the 10-year anniversary of the passing of my Jegna. I call him Jegna. Y'all say mentors, I say Jegna. It's a difference. The one and only, the most honorable Dean James McLeod, who was the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs at Washington University, and also he was director of the John B. Irvin Scholars Program, and I am an alum of the John B. Irvin Scholars Program. And we lost him on Tuesday, September 2011. He succumbed to the demon known as cancer. He was battling lung cancer for the last 2 years of his life, made a gallant effort, put a lot of energy. Even though he was dealing with that, he still was serving the people. He was a true servant leader, a people servant, and his presence will be missed and is missed. And it's been going, I can't believe it's been a decade, but I ain't gonna never forget where I was at and who told me when Dean McLeod made his transition to a righteous ancestor. I guess a couple of text messages, but what stood out in my mind was Boss Tolliver, that sister, the most beautiful, honorable Virginia Tolliver. I call her Boss Tolliver. She told me that Dean McLeod passed, and it was crazy because it just threw me. It was a curveball I was not expecting or see coming anytime soon. It's actually getting ready for my one-man art show, the most known unknown, I believe, the Metropolitan Art Gallery in St. Louis, of all places. I just took it for granted that Dean McLeod could probably make it out to my art show opening, which was going to be that Friday. End up having an art show opening, end up going to his funeral, a homegoing celebration on that Saturday. They had it quick. And so it was like, man, it was crazy. And also I went to the memorial for Dean McLeod at WashU when they, in October of 2011. And Dean McLeod was an amazing man. He was a phenomenon, just a one-man movement of goodwill, and just truly was a lovable human being. And I just want to share a story because Dean McLeod, not only was he my wise counsel and protector on campus, but he also believed in my mission and my mom's mission of college preparation and getting our children prepared for the future today. And so he actually was a keynote at a couple of our events in Memphis when we did college preparation events. I Am and We All Be Group Incorporated did college prep events in Memphis back in 2004 and 2008. He was the keynote. And the first one was at World Overcomers Church. That's the mega church on Kirby and Winchester at the intersection with that big controversial statue based on the Statue of Liberty, but it's called, I guess, the Statue of Liberation through Christ. So it's a big Statue of Liberty replica. Instead of a torch, it has a cross in one hand. So he actually did the keynote for us there. And also in 2008, he was the keynote speaker at East High School here in Memphis. And so I want to focus on the 2004 one because I think it was interesting. It shows to me what type of person he was and what he still exemplifies, this excellence, class, and all that good stuff. And I believe he had a good sense of humor. And, Dean McLeod's birthday was back in July, Leo season. He definitely was a Leo because he had that hair, man. He had that perfect stay so soft afro mane, lion's mane. He had a perfect afro, perfect shape afro, kept it nice and tight, and was truly a leader, and he was on the scene to be seen. He's definitely somebody on the scene to be seen. So let me get to the thing. He did a keynote. It was my job both times to introduce him as the keynote in 2004 and 2008. So I introduced him in 2004 at this church that, World Overcomers, and Bishop Attn Williams come from a large family of ministers. His father was a well-known and respected minister. His brothers are well-known and respected minister. Jasper Williams, Reverend Jasper Williams. Matter of fact, he was the guy who did the eulogy at Aretha Franklin's funeral, as well as Aretha's father, Reverend C.L. Franklin's funeral, back in the day. So, Bishop Williams, Attn Williams wasn't there, but we had a lot of people from the community there. So it was my job to introduce Dean McLeod, and Clara was there, Mrs. McLeod. And so I did something that was interesting, I don't I just did so to, I'm always trying to be a little bit provocative and stuff like that. So I said, an old wise head once told me that if you're gonna be a nigga, it's best to be a smart nigga than a dumb nigga, because one day you're gonna be a dead nigga. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, scholars, laymen, I introduce you to one and only Dean James McLeod. And so Mr. McLeod came up there. He didn't miss a beat. You want to thank everybody. Thank you, Mr. Hurd. Thank everybody for coming. And the question you must ask yourself, why are you here? Who are you here for? Like he just got getting into his like kind of habits of achievement zone. Like a lot of people that know about Dean McLeod, he would do the habits of achievement speech every year for orientation. But I mean, he didn't take offense. I don't know if he took offense to it, but he was cool and calm and collected about it. And he didn't give me no problems about it. It was like I was trying to be funny and provocative, and did it in a church. But Dean McLeod, you got to remember, Dean McLeod is the son of a preacher man. And I don't know if his father's still around, but I think his father reached to be 100 plus years old. I don't know if he's still around. Dean McLeod's the son of a preacher man from Dothan, Alabama. He went to Morehouse when he was about 15 or 16 years old. So he's like a prodigy. But what Dean McLeod's genius was that he knew how to deal with people and make people feel welcome. That was his genius, making people feel like they belong, even though they may feel out of place. I told Dean McLeod one time, I had these issues with WashU. I still had trauma dealing with my WashU experience. And he said, well, sir, it's not about the buildings. It's about the people. It's about relationships. It's about people, not about buildings. And it's because of relationships I had with people like Dean McLeod, I was able to not only survive WashU, but actually, I graduated and I'm still being productive and I still believe in giving back. So Dean McLeod, thank you for your excellent example on how to be lovable, how to be givable, and in the end, how to live a honorable life, sending blessings and love, amplify blessings and love to the only one, the one and only rather, Queen Mother Clara McLeod, beautiful spirit, rooted, beautiful, thoughtful, lovable, and also to your one and only beautiful daughter, Sarah McLeod, sending y'all love, positivity, peace, and light your way. Just want you all to know that I've been thinking about Dean McLeod, and he's unforgettable. Just like you all are unforgettable. Thank you. God bless. One love. Welcome, Black family. Good evening, boys and girls, scholars and laymen, to the wokish and the sleepers. We all in the same gang. This is your host for this empowerment segment, Brother Ron. also known as R2C2H2, the artivist, because you know I am that one, and this is We All Be, news free Dixie for the 21st century. I just go ahead, gonna do a show tonight. Man, my life is interesting right now. I don't feel the need to be talking that much to people right now. Like to be left alone to my thoughts a lot recently. It's a lot of sadness right now in these times we live in. It's kind of like it's worse for me in 2021 than it is in 2020 because, man, my social media timeline is clogged with death, and I feel it all around me. And, you know, today is the 25th anniversary of the death of Tupac Amaru Shakur, or I think his government name was Paris Lassane Crooks or whatever, but Tupac, you know, Tupac, okay? Machiavelli, he lives 25 years, would have been 50 years old this year on June 16th, 2021, who was born June 16th, 1971. He made his grand entrance and his grand exit was September 13th, Friday the 13th, 1996. I was 16 years old. Never gonna forget where I was when I heard that news. Actually, I was with my mom and my sister and my brother was going home to our townhouse. We was right up to the entrance of the townhouse when it came on the radio flash news that Tupac Amaru Shakur made his transition. And my mama, without hesitancy, made a U-turn towards our local Target. And I actually grabbed the last All Eyes on Me double CD that was on the floor. I don't know if they had any more in the back, but like it was like God meant me to have that last double album CD because Tupac was the first rapper to come out with a double album CD. And y'all, people forget that Tupac was a pioneer, innovator. He was the cat that had enough material for a 2 double album CD. And you know, Biggie did his, Thug, Bones, and Harmony did theirs. Biggie was great. I love Biggie's Life After Death. It came out after he died. Tupac, you know, they went diamond eventually. And also, who couldn't forget that came out in November 1996, Machiavelli, which is arguably one of the greatest albums of all time. In my opinion, you could put Machiavelli up there with any album made in any genre of music in the history of the world. Now, I put that up there with Kind of Blue. Hell, wait, what's going on? Look, Tupac was like Curtis Mayfield and Sam Cooke and Smokey Robinson and Bob Dylan, all them guys. You can't refute that. Tupac had a phenomenal talent. Y'all, you can't just reduce him to a rapper. He's bigger than hip hop and rap. He's a global icon. He's like, you know, he's the Che Guevara of hip hop. And y'all can say he studio this and studio that. The Tupac died at the real age of 25. He put his life on the line for the things he believed in. And it's no coincidence why every rapper, past, present, and future, will be measured up to the yardstick that is Tupac Amaru Shakur. He's my number one GOAT for a reason. It's not about being the greatest technician or the most lyrical. Tupac brought it. People felt it, and people still feeling it 25 years later. And I thank God that the legend grows. But also, if I get too deep into the Tupac thing, I was giving respect to one of my jegnas, Dean McLeod, the Honorable James Dean McLeod. Now, what I forgot to add in that video tribute to him, because he made his transition September 6, 2011, which would be 10 years ago. I can't believe it's been a decade since I last known my mentor to walk this planet. I said in my introduction to him, like I said, the thing about, you know, wise head once told me, it's better to be a smart nigga than a dead nigga, because one day, it's better to be a smart nigga than a dumb nigga, because one day you're going to be a dead nigga. Then I said, I want to introduce y'all to the smartest nigga that I know, the Honorable Dean James McLeod. That's the part I left out. It bothered me I left that part out. But I said, this is the smartest nigga that I know. And Dean didn't give me no problem about it. He came back, like I said, for another keynote back in 2008. And I introduced him again. I didn't, you know, do my, you my nigga. I did that before Larry Whitmore did that at the White House correspondence thing for Obama. See, I always been penalized for being ahead of my time. See, cats now, I've been spending a lot of my time last weekends looking at cats visiting graveyards, and they doing graveyard stories. And shout out to those cats is like, I like Lamont at Large. He's a great storyteller. And this other guy out of Chicago, Faces of the Forgotten. They doing graveyard tours. Like I've been doing that for years. Like I get no love, man. Like I do stuff and I'm like 7 years ahead of everybody else. And then I get penalized for being ahead of everybody else. That's just my life of being an innovator and pioneer. I just follow my instincts. Now it's cool for cats to go to cemeteries and pay their respects and tell these stories. And I'm not knocking it, but I look at a lot of you guys, they just started like a year or two ago and they got over 100 something thousand, 200,000 subscribers. And according to YouTube, I'm losing subscribers for the past 2 months. I've been a negative on my subscriber base. It is what it is. So with that said, it is what it is. But yeah, Tupac at 25, man, I can't still believe that's a generation and 5 years. Tupac been off the planet as far as the physical form, but they really did fear Tupac in the physical form. And you can look at some of these blogs and videos, people trying to dirty up my name against all odds. Tupac is built to last. I'm sorry, y'all can't get rid of Machiavelli, the Don. He's gonna be here as long as human beings got ears to hear, hearts and minds to receive. Tupac back, Tupac back, Tupac back. Okay, like even when Michael K. Williams passing, right? We got to thank Tupac for Michael K. Williams. There will be no Omar without Bishop. There will be no Omar without Bishop. Tupac discovered Michael K. Williams. He pulled him out in the photos, stacked on a desk, said, I want this guy to play my brother, my little brother. The guy with this interesting scar on his face. And Tupac's best friend, one of his best friends and rap collaborators was who? Mr. Scarface, the number 4 on my all-time great MC list. Man, it'd been awesome if Tupac went to rap a lot. It'd been great if Tupac and Scarface did a double album together. You know how phenomenal that would have been if Tupac and Scarface did a double album together. Them beats that they had back in the day. Just think about Smile. That stuff was crazy, even the video. But Tupac was phenomenal. Master P was touring with Tupac before Tupac checked out of here. See, Tupac got influence on everybody. Like I look at those pictures from the 90s with Tupac took them posse pictures. It's like Jesus and his disciples. I mean, no cats was all around him posing these Renaissance poses. You know, they didn't even have no cell phones back in the day. They didn't have it. I mean, they had Sky pages, and they didn't have what we have in terms of social media and the type of smartphones we have today. But Tupac was very photographable. He's kind of like the Frederick Douglass of hip hop. This photograph of everybody, right? And yeah, like I said, it just really bothered me. But Tupac got checked out of here. I still can't believe in 25 years. Can you imagine Tupac at 50 right now? Now we've seen Jay-Z at 50, Ice Cube, Diddy, A.L.L, Will Smith. What would Tupac be doing right now at 50? He did so much at 25. What would he be doing right now at 50? But Tupac lives in, we all be, and Brother Ron, and I'm the artivist. I love to do artwork. And you see all the artwork in the back of me. The best Tupac channel on YouTube. Y'all need to subscribe. This right here. The Art of the Dialogue. This is the best, hands down, Tupac channel on YouTube. One of the best Tupac information sites in all the internet. This brother named, I guess we call him Art, the Art of Dialogue. He's I guess Generation Y or Z. I don't know whether he's a young cat. I don't think he was even born when Tupac was around in the physical form. But this guy has took upon himself to interview, he go beyond Vlad TV. Vlad, yeah, he got a lot of great interviews, but this dude interviewed Tupac's side chicks and pieces and everything. His homeboy, he even interviewing Keefy D right now. But these guys, his interviews, he asks great questions and he let the folks be themselves. He don't try to, he allowed them air to breathe, to tell their truths or to speak their lies. And it's a great channel. And I would recommend all you people that, like Tupac or love Tupac, check out the Art of the Dialogue on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. It was one video he did. I don't know. It was last year or this year because the years are so These years are crazy. 2020 and 2021, like identical twins, just about. He did an interview with one of these porn stars who was on, she was on the video set site of How Do You Want It? They did the X-rated How Do You Want It video. Tupac had a lot of porn stars on the set, and she was just talking about how Tupac was like the Energizer Bunny that night. He was getting it in. I mean, he was like, party like a rock star, F like a porn star. That boy was getting it in. And it just brings it more home to me that Tupac never raped anybody. Tupac was the type of cat, women give him what he want. How do you want it? How does it feel? They gave him what he wanted. The women love Tupac. It's like, even like you look at Jada Pinkett Smith still releasing love letters 20-something years later. 20-something years later, she's still holding on to love letters and poems of Tupac. And Jasmine got all these women. Tupac only lived to be 25. He's like our Billy the Kid or Jesse James or something. But Tupac was amazing. Amazing. And I never get tired of these Tupac stories. I don't care how many I told, there's so many great Tupac stories. And I'm really surprised that Hulu or Netflix or one of these streaming services have not created like a limited series or something like that about Tupac that's based on these stories, because the movie left a lot to be desired for real Tupac fans. Like the movie All Eyes on Me wasn't necessarily a bad movie, but it was like for the novices, because the stuff they covered, like a lot of the true Tupac fans or diehards already knew for the most part. But yeah, like he interviewed one of the porn stars. It said Tupac got it in. And like, people forget Tupac did not go to jail for rape. Just like Bill Cosby did not go to jail for rape. Tupac went to jail or prison rather, for improper touching of the buttocks. No, they didn't prove anything that he raped that girl. There was no proof that he raped her. And any sexual acts that were done was consensual, from my understanding. And the woman went on Vlad TV a couple years ago. She's like an MK Ultra sex kitten. Like she'd been under some type of hypnosis or something was off about her. And she still was very attractive. I ain't gonna lie to you. She still, I can only imagine what she looked like back in the day, but she still was, not bad looking. But it was something off about her, and looking in her eyes, it's like she had some type of weird twinkling going on. But it's like some type of MK Ultra pet project. But Tupac was targeted by the government. It is alleged that the FBI was on the scene or had death row records under surveillance. You had informants and all types of people. Death row was very much compromised in terms of intelligence, interference, and stuff like that. So it's no surprise. So people would think that Tupac was just a thug or just, a pretender, that he came from a long line of freedom fighters and stuff and riders. So you guys know, Afeni Shakur, his mom, defended herself in court when that Panther 21 charges came up, and her and the other Panthers were set up by Malcolm X's chief bodyguard, Eugene Robinson, who was undercover NYPD Bossy program. And we're gonna talk about Blood Brothers, but I'm stuck on Tupac right now. But let me Art of Dialogue. And also, like I said, I'm an artivist. I love Tupac. I'm a Tupac fan. Love it. It's been a tough year, even like the Aaliyah 20 years later, I can't believe it's been a generation since we lost Aaliyah as well. And I was a big fan of the R. Kelly thing coming up, and free R. Kelly, free R. Kelly, free R. Kelly. That's all I got to say on that one. Free R. Kelly. Not interested in making no friends. We're ready to run. Free R. Kelly. Free him. Support. You can wear art of his art. See that? Pac in blue. Pac in blue. Pac in blue. I attribute to Tupac Amaru Shakur. Got a couple of Tupac shirts on the site. Just go below the description box. Access our Teespring official website. It's one of my Pac in blue shirts I did about almost 20 years ago, I think. In college, I did a lot of Tupac art and stuff. So I got a lot of different other things on that site. But check us out, R2C2H2 Place, and order you a Pac in blue shirt tonight. It's all good, baby. But and Baba Dick Gregory, he's like omnipresent right now. So I want to play Baba Dick Gregory take on Tupac's early demise, and we will weigh in on that.
And notice this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. That's We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. And you know this, man. Yeah. Oh, man. It must have a gift where you could be sad and make other people happy. It's going to be like some type of weird cosmic joke. But anyway, enough about that. Let's make it plain on We All Be.
Let's look at Tupac.
Tupac
He was
okay.
shot. He
Yes,
was
sir.
shot in Las Vegas.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now he'd been shot at before a couple times. He was hit, so he always wore bulletproof vest.
Yes, sir.
The car he rode in had bulletproof windows. So if he's sitting in the car with a bulletproof vest on, how he gonna get hit? Huh? How he gonna hit? You know who was in the back seat?
Who?
His girlfriend, Quincy Jones' daughter.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that? Quincy Jones, world renowned. His daughter was in the car. In New York Times, nobody said it, huh?
They keep on saying she was in a separate car. They always say she was in a separate car.
Did you hear what I said? They always change it when they hear stuff like this on your show.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's see how they're going to change this. The sheriff say, you just can't get them to talk. They're talking about Negroes, right?
Right.
One of his top backup singers told the police everything. 2 days later, they found him dead on his farm in New Jersey, huh? That's how it works. That's how it works.
Yes, sir.
So I just hope that shows like this, people will hear it and be ready for the trick.
I mean, they listen to you. I know that much. They've been listening to you. They really, a lot of people respect you out here because you are honest.
Yeah.
And that was Bobby D. Gregory on his assessment of what happened to Tupac that night in Vegas, which is still kind of conflicted and controversial to this day. Like I said, people don't always agree with what Dick Gregory had to say, the Baba, the righteous, the honorable ancestor. But like he said it all the time, my truth does not need to be validated by your ignorance. And like I tell people all the time, that Baba Dick Gregory may not get you to the correct house, but he'll put you in the right zip code. He may not get you to the correct house, the exact house, but he'll put you in the right zip code. And so the reason why I say you can't dismiss what Bobby D. Gregory had to say on this, because even he showed us and taught us how the media play Jedi mind tricks, how they change the narrative so many times within the first 24, 48 hours, and how all this other stuff come about. Now, I heard Quincy Jones, he's suspect to me on a couple of things. I remember when he came out and started having diarrhea of the mouth a couple of years ago. He allegedly said he brought like drugs from Detroit Red up in Detroit. You know, Detroit Red was the hustler hood name of the one and only Malcolm X, formerly Malcolm Little, A.L.L, Malik Shabazz. I think that's how you say it. But he said that he purchased some reefer or something from Detroit Red up in Detroit. But the date and time he said it happened, Malcolm was still in prison up in Massachusetts. He might have met a Detroit Red in Detroit. They sold him that, but it was not the Detroit Red that became Malcolm X. It's not the same. So, but I think Quincy Jones said something about his daughter and that night in Vegas, and then something else about Machine Gun in one of these interviews. It might still be on YouTube, but I'm not going to even try to find it. But I just think it shows you how the story changes, because, you know, Kadada said they were engaged. Allegedly, Kadada Jones said that she was also pregnant with Tupac's child, but nothing came of that. She could have been pregnant, perhaps maybe had a miscarriage. But there's so many things to that. But you know, and it's weird. This happened after a Tyson fight, and I was in Memphis when the Tyson and Lennox Lewis fight went down back in 2002, and downtown was so congested. It was kind of like, you know, Las Vegas meets Hollywood in Memphis for that week, the Tyson Lewis fights week. But you could hardly move downtown. So imagine in Vegas after a big prize fight like the Tyson fight, how was these guys able to not only shoot at Tupac and Schaap, but get out of Vegas with no problem? For all that traffic, all that congestion. And, you know, Vegas had a lot of cameras even back then, from my understanding. So, I mean, it's a lot of confusion with the Tupac thing. But, you know, somebody, I think it's Sister Sunshine. Yeah, I had him on the show before, John Potesh. He's a great researcher. I love his documentaries. He make it plain. And you remind me, I got to get him back on the show because I reached out to him before all this craziness came about. And he was willing to do another show with me. Yeah, but John Potash, I think Potash or something. He does a great job researching the government neutralizing certain type of entertainers that were a threat to the system, like a Tupac, like a Jimi Hendrix, like a Coltrane. People, or John Lennon. People have died on the suspect circumstances. We're trying to free the people's mind and give them an alternative to the status quo. Well, that's why we got support like the Art of Dialogue and places like that, where you get the truth from the people that were there. You may not always agree with their assessments because it's their point of view, but it's important to try to get as close to the primary source as one can. Because, you know, you got Keefe D having diarrhea of the mouth, who allegedly, along with his nephew Orlando Anderson, allegedly killed Tupac, and he's bragging about it. You know, he's going on all these different platforms, and most recently he's been on the Art of the Dialogue platform. Thanks for the new $10 Patreon patron, Unc Must Be Logic. We love you madly. Thank y'all for supporting this platform. But I want to encourage you all. Please just do a little bit of research and really combine your research with your imagination, because it's important to feed your imagination. Einstein, to paraphrase Albert Einstein, imagination is more powerful than knowledge. To have an imagination, we got to reimagine some things as it relates to Black people and our status in this world, in this matrix, and our place and rank in this matrix. And Tupac matters, and we got to show that he matters by reclaiming his narrative from the powers that be, because this is what they do. They want to feminize, emasculate, all that stuff, the Black man image. Not just the straight Black male image, straight Black man image. You know, I'm gonna talk about the Blood Brothers. And it was a brother, a public intellectual in there named Dr. Toby, I think his name Dr. Toby. He talked about how they destroyed Muhammad Ali's image, starting with the 1996 Olympics when he carried the torch. You know, and Paul Mooney was talking about he gonna burn down Atlanta a second time because he shaking and baking. But when they allow him to participate in the 1996 Olympics, they're trying to erase all the stuff he did that made him a threat to the so-called internal security of the United States, or the United Snakes of America. So that's what they're doing with Tupac. They're trying to erase what made him controversial in the first place. Just like with Fred Hampton. You know, they made the Fred Hampton guy, you know, who played Fred Hampton, he in his 30s. Fred Hampton was just 21 when the United States Snakes assassinated him in his bed, along with Defense Captain Mark Clark in the living room. Oh, man. So it is important that we reclaim these narratives, and this is why I do what I do, because, like I said, I ain't gonna never forget where I was at when I heard the news Tupac passed. It was a generational defining moment for me. Thank you, Sister Monique. We love you madly. I call you Miss Canton because you a Hall of Famer. Miss Canton. I call you Miss Canton. You Hall of Fame. And yeah, it's important that we remember our people and we tell these stories. And yeah, but we really don't know what exactly happened, because, you know, like Dick Gregory talked about Yafi Gaddafi, the light-skinned brother who's real close. I think they were like cousins or something. They're really, really close. And he saw who actually shot Tupac in that so-called Cadillac. It wasn't 2 days, about maybe 2 months later, he was dead in New Jersey under questionable circumstances. And still, that's very murky. It's unfortunate that when you're dealing with people, we deal with people-related activities, it's always messy. You know, like anything with people is messy. I don't care. Relationships are messy. Sex is messy. Eating is messy. Anything dealing with people is always going to be messy. So, yeah, Yaki Gaddafi, he was willing to talk to the police. Then the next thing you know, he was dead. Matter of fact, a lot of people from that era, especially from Tupac crew, like you got Big Psych. I think Big Psych died in December 2016, I believe. That was 2016 was crazy. These cats can't make it to 50. You know, Tupac's bodyguards, both of them dead. These cats cannot, I mean, even Hussein Fatal died in a fatal car accident, I believe. I mean, these cats can't make it to 50, man. These cats can't make it to 50. So, I mean, there's a lot of cats already dead from Death Row days. Snoop's still around. Then when they had Murder Was the Case, and his bodyguard allegedly killed that gangbanging guy. I think the guy was an Ethiopian or something. Ethiopian gangbanger or something. Man, people make these deals, man. So, let's see. Thank you, Sister Monique, once again. We love you madly. Thank you for receiving the information. That's cool. I like John. Just like my thing is, there's a lot of people they reach out to me to kind of come on the platform. It's like people I want to interview. I should have been interviewed, like the actual founding member of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party, Brother Bob Brown. I need to reach out to him because it's the guy who helped recruit Fred Hampton, and he left because of the politics and stuff like that. And I guess he saw it was compromised. So I would love to get that elder on the show. There's a couple of people I want to reach out to who have firsthand knowledge of certain things as it relates to the government interfering in people's politics and liberation. And we still got a lot of political prisoners, and a lot of shows ain't really talking about it. And really, like, yes, so enough. I love Ohio. Y'all are interesting. I love y'all. I love y'all. But it's I don't know. To me, I'm one person, man. I just try to do as much as I can. And when you go against the grain, it wears on you if you actually true about doing the work that you do. Like if I'm a liberated, I really care about helping people connect the dots. La 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 la. You know, we also had 20 years later the anniversary of the skyscrapers falling, and people still don't get it. You know, a lot of us still don't get it. We still don't get it. We trust the wrong people. We don't even trust ourselves, but we trust the wrong people. And so, like, I just ain't gonna really get too much into it. But let me see. There need to be another movie done about Tupac. Like I said, the best way to do that, I would believe, be a limited series, like a docuseries, docudrama, limited series, maybe 8 to 10 shows. And that'd be great. I love it. You know, my thing about John Singleton, may God be pleased with his soul. It's like he was really obsessed with showing a rape scene of Tupac in prison, and I thought that wasn't cool. And I like John Singleton for the most part. He helps so many people get put on in front of as well as behind the cameras. And I mean, he did a lot of great, My Boys in the Hood. You can't argue with that. Great movie. Rosewood. I mean, he captured it as close as possible. What that was all about. It wasn't just about what happened in Rosewood. That's about the Black experience in America, period. And he did a lot of things. I mean, he also did Hustle and Flow. He helped produce that. And I don't know, but he was just so obsessed with, I guess, showing Tupac getting raped. And I don't think that was really, really important in the story. Tupac had a lot of people that wanted to do him harm for whatever reason, in death as well as in life. Tupac to me was a very extraordinary person. People say, well, I trained Tupac. He was an actor. We all actors, man. All of us acting. Because y'all acting like y'all mad at Larry Elder. Y'all need to stop that. That's horrible. Y'all act like y'all mad at Larry Elder. Larry Elder is who y'all think y'all are in person. Like, you know, I'm telling you, like, Larry Elder is what is for black folks what Donald Trump was for white people. Donald Trump was saying stuff that white folks were saying in their minds or behind closed doors. Larry Elder actually thinks like a lot of black folks who say they hate Larry Elder think. Y'all love white folks at all costs. So do Larry Elder. And yet y'all mad at Larry Elder for telling the truth about how he feel about white people and his relation to white people and how he defend white folks. We sick boss. Most of us got that we sick boss pandemic going on. We got the we sick boss. We sick boss. Stimulus boss, we sick boss, stimulus boss, we sick. See, a lot of y'all think like Larry Elder, but y'all mad at Larry Elder because he telling, it's like I was in Mississippi on Friday. Just lost a friend, family friend, double pneumonia. He was diagnosed with the COVID, and he passed away. And that was on my mind heavy. I lost a lot of people this year alone, and it's been on my mind. But I had drove to Mississippi, deep into Mississippi, to go to a book signing for the great Bobby Rush. Bobby Rush just released his book. I suggest y'all go get it. I ain't stunning you. That's his autobiography. So I went there. I drove 4 hours with no sleep in the morning. Got there about 10 something. And they had a dialogue going on with another blues great, Mississippi Blues Hall of Famer from Natchez. And also this blues historian, this black woman who's from Oprah's hometown. And I started engaging them. I was asking them questions. I said, so why is it that I said, well, B.B. King was asked what he thought about the Beatles. And he said all they did was re-import the blues. And I was telling them, say, you know, like back in the day, Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and Little Richard, Bo Diddley, Willie Dixon, all these blues greats would come from America and go to England and teach these white boys how to play the blues. I'm talking like Mick Jagger and Eric Clapton and Robert Plant, all these Rolling Stones and the Beatles will open up for Little Richard. I said, why is it that America loved the copycats but hate the originals? So you had a whole bunch of white folks in there. People were scared. You had some scary black folks. I just said, why do America hate the originals but love the copycats? And then I went in deep because the guy was saying, well, you know, the blues guy said, well, a lot of black guys, a lot of black musicians like me, we love the country. I said, well, you know, you mentioned Hank Williams Sr. You know, his mom hired a black man to teach him how to play and sing on the guitar and sing the blues, right? And Rufus T-Top Payne. So they'll look at me, oh, this Negro knows stuff. He kind of young. And so people coming up to me after saying, oh, we want you to teach at our institute. I'm saying they want me to teach, but are they willing to pay for what I know? Because I'm paying the price every day for knowing some of the things I know and sharing it. So during lunch, before Bobby Rush came on and got to the center, I was talking to the historian and all that stuff. And she had a twin sister. And I talk loud. I'm a loud dude. I'm loud right now. I hope I may not get no noise violation. And like in a halfway house and shit to come on. Well, you gotta be quiet hours. I said, it's only if I was screwing and having orgies, nobody would complain about me talking loud. But anyway, it's how it is. It's my life. Welcome to my world. So I'm talking, you know, so I'm saying like, you know, white folks, they won't pay, you know, like they'll put in Mississippi, they'll create civil rights museums. They'll create civil rights trail markers. They'll create blues markers, but they won't pay the descendants of the victims of state-sponsored white terrorism what they do. They have the descendants living in poverty while the state enjoyed the riches of controlling the narrative, the blood, sweat, and tears of their ancestors. And the lady was saying, well, you know, you speaking too loud. They go, white man. There's some old white man about in his 80s, could barely stay awake. I'm saying, lady, I talk on him. I'm saying, still scary. You 70, 60 something years old, you still scared letting white folks know how you feel about things. And better yet, you still afraid to let white folks know that you love them more you love yourself. So like in Emmett Till, y'all keep on talking about the two brothers, but it was black people, it was several black males that helped kidnap and torture Emmett Till. But nobody, why is that we knew about that in 1955, but in 2021, hardly no Negro know about there were black folks involved in killing Emmett Till. But, you know, it get back to Larry Elder or like the Black Lives Matter people. Black lives only matter if white folks do something to them. If a black cop killed another black person, black lives don't matter. If another black person killed another black person, black lives don't matter. If a white cop kills a black person, it could be in self-defense, dare I say. It could be, you know, the circumstances would have called for this person to defend their life, self-defense. Y'all will go protest, burn stuff down and everything. I think it's just asinine. Be honest with you, because nothing coming out of that. Nothing. Then y'all go vote Democrat. Y'all burn things down. Y'all burn down Democrat-controlled cities. Y'all burn down places that don't give y'all a chance, but yet y'all still vote for the same folks that's on your neck. Like the officer was on George Floyd's neck. The same folks that got their knee on your neck, you still support and love. And you got the audacity to get mad at Larry Elder. How can y'all be so emotionally foolish? It's like even Little Nas X, I don't care if that man walk around with a tea bag on his forehead. I don't care. It does not bother me about Lizzo. None of you people, they clowns. They court jesters. Y'all get, well, Lizzo and Little Nas X and Larry Elder, who cares? See, now I get what Dick was saying. It don't matter. Dick Gregory. I ain't talking about Dick Gregory, okay, Bible. I see what he was saying about this nonsense. It's nonsense. But Larry Elder really does represent how black folks really feel about white people. Y'all don't want no justice. It's just us. Y'all love being screwed over by Biden. Y'all love it. Y'all love Master Candy. Y'all love living in Candy Land. Got the nerves get mad at Larry Elder. Y'all love you. Y'all got mad at Uncle Steven for telling y'all the truth about yourselves. We love you, boss. Y'all like, oh yeah, we love that football. We throw around that pigskin. I be looking at football. All y'all do is look at the morning shows on YouTube. I'm not gonna waste 4 hours of my life looking at some foosball. I'd rather look at 5 minutes on First Take on whatever's on. Scoop. I'll look at that for 5 minutes. And okay. I can go online, look at the final scores. I'm not wasting 4 hours looking at these dudes run up and down the field for nonsense. And the game is rigged, by the way. Donald Trump told y'all. The same man who was able to file for bankruptcy on a casino and still make a profit told y'all the game was rigged, and y'all mad at him. Y'all mad at the messenger. Y'all up here mad at Trump or making excuses for Biden. Got the nerve to be mad at Larry Elder because he's speaking out what y'all feel on the inside about white people. Y'all love being messed over. Got the nerve to be mad at Larry Elder. Get out here with this nonsense. Oh man, Larry Elder sell out. Uncle Tom was a hero, and y'all don't even know that. So to call somebody Uncle Tom is a badge of honor. It's not an insult. It's like what Dick Gregory said. Uncle Tom was a shapeshifter. When it's time for a black man to become a shapeshifter, it's shameless. Or it's shameful, not shameless. No, we can't even be honest with our situation. You know good goddamn well that black men are needed to lead the black family or the black community. There are no black leaders. You know, it's a damn shame. And I was, at the Bobby Rush bookshop, and we had a real talk because one of the historians, she helped manage the career of one of Muddy Waters, I think grandsons or great nephews. And the thing about them blues guys, a lot of them didn't teach no young black guys about the music. The top blues guys, blues performers today, a lot of them are white. They are white guys who learned directly from Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf how to do their thing. They didn't pass it on to any young black guys. And a lot of us were not interested in the blues. There's a lot to that, but what I'm saying, you look at so-called black leaders. Your tree bears no fruit. Black leadership is very impotent right now. There's no black leaders. I'll give you an example of what black leadership should be about. It should be about successions, right? Who is your successor? If you look at Miles Davis, I love Miles Davis. I love music. Miles Davis, right? Miles Davis, the people that played for Miles Davis, a lot of them went on to lead their own bands. I'm talking about people like Herbie Hancock and John Coltrane and Cannonball Adderley, Bill Evans, Wayne Shorter, Chick Corea. The list goes on and on. Real leaders produce leaders. Where are the successors of the Congressional Black Congress? Who is Sheila Jackson Lee training? Who is not the right Reverend Al Green training? Who did John Lewis leave behind to carry on? None of them. They're very selfish. There's no leadership in our community. And what is also a problem, there's no black male leadership in our community. Black men have abandoned ship. I mean, we pay child support and all that stuff, but you need black men to lead. You need black male leadership. You can't name me one great black woman mayor in the history of this country. There are no great black women mayors. If you say they are, you lying. You can't name. I can name you a bunch of great or controversial or game-changing black male mayors. Not women. The matriarchy has failed. It's failed. But like, my thing is, where do we go from here? And that's a good question. So with the Larry Elder, miss me with all that. Larry Elder, I hope he does win. Shake you Negroes up. You Negroes, y'all made it Larry Elder, but not made it Joe Biden. Get out of here with this nonsense. I just got people hitting me up. Let me see in the chat. I think I'm covering most of the stuff. Man, our black political situation is non-existent. Thank you, Sister Sunshine. Thank you. And the congregation say amen. But it's nonsense, man. A lot of us, we're not serious about nothing, man. We're in an infantile state in Arrested Development. Yeah, but the blues is dominated by white folks, man. And a lot of these cats were trained by our legends. How you think you get a white boy like Stevie Ray Vaughan? Who learned it? Who he learned from? It's like even with George Gershwin. Y'all know George Gershwin from Porgy and Bess and Summertime, I think. And, he was commissioned by Paul Whiteman to do the song Rhapsody in Blue. Guess who trained George Gershwin, one of the great American composers? Was a black man named Lucky Roberts from Philadelphia. He's a Harlem Stride piano player and a real estate agent. This man became a millionaire by dealing real estate on the East Coast. This is Lucky Roberts. This is the guy who trained George Gershwin. George Gershwin, music hero growing up, was James Reese Europe. This guy right here from Mobile, Alabama, leader of the Harlem Hellfighters jazz band. Used to play piano at a nightclub up in Harlem. George Gershwin, when he was like 7 years old, used to listen to James Reese Europe play his piano outside for hours. So we don't know who we are. We are gods and the fathers and mothers of civilization, of humanity, and we forgot who we were. We are the people that allow our white children to run crazy in the supermarket and not discipline them. That's who black folks are. But we don't want that responsibility because it's been bred out of us to be accountable and responsible for ourselves, which is all about self-determination. If you're not willing to control your destiny, you can't have no self-determination. But what I'm saying on this note is that there's no black agenda because black folks, so-called black people, put everybody first for themselves. And the number one rule of survival of nature is self-preservation. We sick, boss. We dying, boss. We burning up, boss. We sick, boss. So this is where we at right now. And ain't no YouTube scholar gonna convince me otherwise. I mean, I don't follow color, personality, all that stuff. But the same way that black folks claim they mad at Trump and Larry Elder should be the same way they should be mad at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And why come all the folks used to correct me? I used to call her Kamala and Kamala. I call her Kamala now. That's what she come. Y'all call her Kamala. Kamala. Y'all told me to call her Kamala. So am I living in a world of opposites and I'm in the Twilight Zone where everybody just mispronounce her name? I mean, folks who come on my platform is Kamala. Now I call her Kamala. If she was black, I'll call her Kamala. But anyway, I think that's enough of my Larry Elder rant. Yeah, I remember. Like I said, my life is interesting. Something that made my night. I went to Hardee's and ordered me some food, and it was like this beautiful. I think she's beautiful to me. I like. She was dark skinned, chocolate, very shapely. Had a good, had a big behind. She was the manager or supervisor. She was at the window, and she said something to me. She said, she said, and she got, but she was like, very. She had some curves on her. She said, "You want some jelly with that?" I said, I want some jelly. She said, "Oh, I forgot. I keep on thinking I'm in breakfast. I think I forget I'm not on the breakfast shift." And I said, I want the jelly that's not on the menu. I told her, I said, I wish you was on the menu so I could order you. Hey, I want some jelly. But anyway, but man, I just like, it's funny to me. I just like, I feel so interested right now. I got a big event coming up in October, and I just don't know what to do. It's like crazy stuff going on. It's like when you really doing the work, it's so much to it, and people don't know. Nobody knows the trouble I sing. Nobody knows my sorrow, and I still do the work anyway. And the only thing I know is that no race lasts forever. There's always a finish line, and I just want to finish strong. That's about it. So that's all I'm gonna say about Larry. I hope Larry Elder become y'all governor in California, so y'all can learn the hard way. But Blood Brothers, right? The Blood Brothers movie. I wonder sometime. Just running my mouth. Let me see. So much to talk about. I said, let me get on here. Everybody else be running their mouth and know what the hell they talking about, but y'all be loving they stuff. But yeah, I did this t-shirt. I did this artwork something like back in 2016, around the time Muhammad Ali died. You could get it as a shirt on We All Be official Teespring store. Go below the description box, access that shelf. But they got a Netflix documentary called Blood Brothers, right? It's about Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. And I did that shirt. I called it M&M Blood Brothers, the artwork anyway. I saw the documentary over the weekend. Thought it was very interesting. It talks about the unique relationship between Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. Malcolm was Muhammad's Jegna. They had a friendship for 3 years, but it came to an end because Malcolm, forced split from the Nation of Islam, and Muhammad Ali, his protege, decided to side with the messenger and the Nation of Islam against Malcolm. And I think the last meeting or confrontation, or whatever they had of each other, was when they was both in Ghana back in '64, I believe, in Africa. And Muhammad Ali did not want to acknowledge Malcolm and said, "Why you betrayed the messenger? You shouldn't have did that." And then there's a couple of interviews Muhammad Ali did back in the 60s that were very inflammatory towards Malcolm. Like even 3 years after he was dead, he was on that white conservative show. I forgot his name, but he was very popular at the time. And he was just talking about how Malcolm could have been a great man, but he went against the messenger. And so years later, Muhammad said one of his biggest regrets was ending his friendship with Malcolm. Because, Malcolm trained both Muhammad Ali and Louis Farrakhan, or Louis X. But that's the t-shirt, you should get it. It's a good t-shirt. I made it, and you be supporting We All Be. But anyway, I saw the movie, and it was not bad. It's good for what it is. It's a good entrance. But my thing is this. We all know that Malcolm was killed by the government, or we should know that. I know that people talk about the Nation of Islam. Elements within the Nation of Islam, there's like elements within the U.S. government played a part in the neutralization of Brother Malcolm. But the Nation of Islam did not have the power to stop Malcolm from visiting foreign countries like France. Malcolm was not allowed to enter France. They turned him around and sent him back to England because the government of France was notified by another government, guess who, that there was going to be an assassination of Malcolm soon, and they did not want it to happen in France. And I can understand that, so they sent him back to England, and England sent him back to the States. And I heard things about Malcolm contacting the State Department, saying that his life was in danger. They tried to food poison Malcolm. They food poisoned Malcolm, I think, twice on his trips overseas. He almost died. They had to pump his stomach. And if you know me, I come from a line of revolutionaries. My cousin Julian Mayfield and his wife, Puerto Rican American doctor who saved the life of Dr. Maya Angelou's son, they used to allow Malcolm to visit and stay with them in Ghana. He was their house guest on a couple of occasions. My cousin is the great Julian Mayfield. And my cousin's wife told Malcolm that they're going to kill you. And Malcolm was very shy. You know, people don't know that Malcolm in his personal life, they say he was very shy. He just nodded like he already knew it was going to be a done deal. But what I'm saying is the blood brother thing is interesting because it talks about, you know, Malcolm is hot right now. And I think one of the disappointments in the Dick Gregory documentary that came out on Showtime, not that it wasn't well made, but they basically did not include his relationship with Brother Malcolm, and Dick had a relationship with Malcolm X. And they didn't talk about it. So Malcolm still is kind of radioactive for a lot of people because a lot of y'all mad at Larry Elder, but a lot of y'all afraid of Malcolm X. A lot of y'all be saying by any means necessary and put a disclaimer. I don't mean by any means. Well, don't say it. You know, get the word freedom out your vocabulary if you're not willing to pay the cost for freedom. But you know, a lot of y'all still afraid of Malcolm X. And he wasn't even put in Dick Gregory's documentary, and he should have been put in there. But Malcolm was an interesting guy. You know, he had his flaws like anybody else. There's some things I didn't agree with in terms of how he handled the Elijah Muhammad situation. But Elijah Muhammad was interesting because, you know, Malcolm found out before he died, you know, that Elijah Muhammad was getting them big old checks from A.L.L. Hunt, big oil tycoon. His son was Lamar Hunt, who founded the American Football League, the AFC, and who founded the Kansas City Chiefs. We used to be known as the Dallas Texans, but they moved to Kansas City and became the Kansas City Chiefs. H.L. Hunt was a big oil tycoon, media guy. He had a lot of hatred for Dr. King and the Civil Rights Movement. But from my understanding, he was a financial supporter of the Nation of Islam. And you can look at the book called Evidence, the Judas Factor. And this is not to dismiss some of the great work the nation has done and Honorable Elijah Muhammad has done for Black people. But politics make for strange bedfellows because, you know, even with Marcus Garvey, he had a partnership with the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, even the Nation of Islam brought real estate from the Klan down in Georgia, where Elijah Muhammad is from, as well as Malcolm's father was from Georgia. I think Malcolm's father was 41 when he was killed by the Klan in Michigan. I think they were known as the Black Legion. But a lot of us are infantile. We childlike when it comes to stuff. We keep on talking about independence debt, but we in their system. You talk about, I want to be independent this, I want to be separated, but you play by their rules. You use their currency. You use their tools. They even weaponize you when they want you to do their bidding. And you don't raise a fit. You die for Uncle Sam, but won't die for grandma. You know, even with the Afghanistan thing, I don't want the Afghanis to come on. I'm not against people having freedom of movement, but when it comes at my expense, it's like I went to Dearborn, Michigan 5 years ago. I see what happens when you allow other people to come over here and get access to things that Black Americans who've been here for generations should have had access to. Where they'll give us high interest loans, they give them tax-free grants. And you look at Dearborn, Michigan. When I went there 5 years, it's called Dearborn, Michigan, Iraqi town, because after the first Gulf War, a lot of the Iraqis came over to America. A lot of them settled in Dearborn, Michigan, which is outside of Detroit. And then when I went to Dearborn, it was amazing because you look at all these palatial homes, exotic cars, and businesses were owned by Iraqis, the Iraqi Americans. So I'm looking at right now, the people they call your enemies, they're going to become your bosses. You're going to be on them stuff, and you've been here for generations. But who fights for Black people? I remember when Dr. Clyde Anderson talking about, I saw Dr. Clyde Anderson speak in Memphis at Lamar Owen College, HBCU, back in 2004. And he was so controversial back then that the sponsor of the event, FedEx, pulled their sponsorship out. They told the organizers that if y'all bring Dr. Clyde Anderson down here for this, we're going to pull our sponsorship out. And Dr. Clark Anderson came anyway. And that was very commendable that he did that. But I remember when he said he was talking to Detroit City Hall, how he proposed a little Africa town, like a Black Wall Street. And those folks it was so much controversy around that. But you fast forward to 2016, they called Dearborn, Michigan, Iraqi town. Nobody had a problem with these Iraqis coming over here and getting all this money to build businesses and homes and a different life. But yet Detroit, I don't know if a Black person owns a gas station in Detroit anymore. And we allow this rot to happen because we don't care about knowing history. We don't stand for anything. And we let everybody to play us like some fools. We don't mind being a side piece, we the bottom bitch. We don't mind. We just don't mind being anything but legit. So the Malcolm, y'all should check it out. But my problem is this: like John Ali, once again, was featured in the Blood Brothers documentary, right? John Ali was the national secretary for the Nation of Islam. He was responsible for correspondence between Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad. He was at one point, Malcolm's very good friend. And it's been proven time and time again I don't think proven it. People claim he's the FBI. He was FBI. But yet they got him on these documentaries like, you talking about some other guy did this, but this guy was the FBI mole, whatever he was. He could have been an agent provocateur. He could be an FBI agent. I don't know what he is, but he's connected to U.S. intelligence. And y'all not asking him the hard questions. It's like Keefe D claiming, why is Keefe D around talking all this? And y'all talking about y'all this and that, y'all bowdy, but y'all kill a rapper. But y'all, these people right here is like they walking around. It's like so many so-called gangsters and stuff. But John Ali, why our people give him a pass if it's true what they say about him? See, even Carl Evans, I think, exposed John Ali in the Judas Factor. The Judas Factor came out almost 30 years ago, around the time the Malcolm X movie came out with Denzel Washington, the Spike Lee Malcolm X movie. So let's let you know that we are not students of history. It's like the dude Roy Bryant, when he got chased out the Delta, him and his brother, he came back to the Mississippi Delta. This is a guy whose wife alleged that Emmett Till whistled and did some improper stuff with her, and then she said it wasn't true, right? He came back to the Mississippi Delta and opened a grocery store, and his biggest clients were Black people. Like he told a reporter from the Clarion Ledger on the 30th anniversary, he said, the Black folks of today, of 1985, they're not afraid like they were back in the 50s. But the problem is they're not aware. They don't know too much. Because if they knew who I was, I'll be a dead man. That if you really care about who, I don't know. Maybe we do. But we don't know too much. What's good at being courageous? You don't know what to be courageous for. You don't know what to be courageous for. So what good is it to be courageous? So I don't know. I came to bring the pain, hardcore to the brain. Yeah, we need that pain. Pain is a hell of a drug. Thank you, Black Voltron Reloaded. The great state of California gave us Jim Jones. Never forget the People's Temple, whatever. Jim Jones came out the great state of California by the way of Indiana, the biggest Klan state in the country. So Jim Jones was basically MK Ultra South, My thought is this: if you ain't gonna claim it, don't stand on it. I mean, if you're gonna claim it, you gotta fight for it. There ain't no point in saying you this and that and you deny because you're getting mistreated, because we all been traumatized. But if you're not going to not only stand on it and also fight for it, ain't no point in calling. Because a lot of us get caught up in I'm not Black, I'm Native American, this and that. Whatever you claim you are, stand on it and make them respect you. It's like Muhammad Ali had to make them folks respect him. They kept on calling him Cassius Clay. He refused to stand down. He kept on saying, I'm Muhammad Ali. Oh, you Cassius, but no, I'm Muhammad Ali. I don't care, not just with boxers, but also with authority figures. So if y'all gonna say all that, and I believe that we was already over here, and I believe some of us came on the boat. And some of us came off some type of boat many, many years ago. But never deny the black presence is everywhere in the planet. Black folks, we the original people, so we everywhere. Yeah, I know about Lee Atwater. That was George H.W. Bush's brain. He also was the mentor to Karl Rove, which is George W. Bush's brain. So it's all in cycles. You know, and Lee Atwater was interesting because he was from South Carolina. Also, he could play blues guitar. So he actually had a barbecue restaurant. He also cut blues albums with B.B. King. He also, at one point, was on the board of Howard University, but the black students had enough sense to kick him off and protest his appointment to the board of Howard University. Y'all need to look up Lee Atwater, the father of the Southern strategy. I won't give up. I receive your words. We love you, madly. You are my sunshine. Man, I like, you know, if it's the end of the world, man, I'm gonna do what I gotta do now. If it's the end of the world, I'm gonna have my fun. Yeah, I receive that. I will. Life goes on, like Tupac said. Life goes on. We got to keep on holding on, keep our heads up and eyes on the prize. Most definitely. That's why I know black folks ain't serious, because nobody's even raising question about what happened to Malcolm Latif Shabazz, I believe, who was killed in Mexico City back on, I think it was May 9th, 2013. So we still ain't got no answers really on that, what happened to him down in Mexico City. And really should never been down there by himself, let alone by any. I mean, it is sad how this stuff, because you look at Malcolm's family, some of his daughters are very vocal, but there's no males that are very vocal in Malcolm's family. And like him himself talked about in his autobiography, a lot of the males in his family get cut down young. Like his father, I think, was 41 when they ran him over with a train. And he talked about his father's brothers getting killed, and they killed Malcolm, and then they killed his grandson. Because Malcolm Shabazz was just 28 years old, and he already was kind of trying to take up that mantle in his own way of his predecessor, his grandfather. It is what it is, but because black people are not respected, we don't demand any answers. And they don't feel like they have to give us anything. See, that's what I'm saying? Like, we not really serious about this work as a collective. Just like with Hurricane Katrina. People talking about Hurricane Ida, but there's still people missing from Hurricane Katrina. There's people, prisoners and everybody. There's still missing people. They were sending folks out the Ninth Ward who have been outside New Orleans to places like Utah and stuff. They never been outside the state of Louisiana. How come you gonna send these people who never been outside their own ward or the state of Louisiana all the way up to Utah? Because it's just called Negro removal or gentrification by another name. It's not urban removal. It's Negro removal and urban renewal, huh? So they always trying to get rid of us. But yeah, Malcolm Shabazz, that's a sad way to go, man. Nobody follow up on that. Nobody knows. They won't allow a new Black Wall Street. If you look at historically speaking, there were many Black Wall Streets. You know, Beale Street was a Black Wall Street here in Memphis. He got places, I don't care what, everywhere at Central Avenue out in LA was a Black Wall Street. They won't allow for Black folks. And you got to understand, even with Tulsa, they were saying critical race theory I don't trust it. I don't trust the schools to teach it correctly. I think it still should be up to the community. And I tell you, look at the Eyes on the Prize series. They did a great thing about community schooling. They had an episode about community schooling. I think there was a school up in Harlem, if not mistaken, some part of New York City, that you had the community that actually helped create the curriculum along with the teachers. So you had it where students were learning about Marcus Garvey and reading the poetry of Langston Hughes while they was learning their reading and writing and arithmetic. And the students were excelling. The teachers felt like they were winning because they had the help of the parents and the guardians of the community. But yet the teacher union wouldn't stand for it. So the teacher union destroyed that community schooling. So if you want to talk about, you got to tell the truth. The system does not want Black unity. It does not want Black power, because Black power is unity and solidarity. White power is divide and conquer. So I don't trust them to even give us this true so-called criticalness on race theory. And the reason why I bring up Tulsa, Oklahoma, because even after them Black folks got burnt out, them 35 city blocks got destroyed, firebomb, air bomb, none of the Black people got any payouts on insurance. The insurance companies paid the white people for guns and bullets, but they would not pay the Black people for loss of property and life. And yet the Black folks were able to rebuild and came back stronger financially in the 30s. When the country was going through a Great Depression, there was a great Black renaissance in Tulsa on Black Wall Street. And what happened was when they ended Jim Crow and they came about with eminent domain, Negro removal, they put a big old highway through the middle in the heart of Black Wall Street. So what you see now is just really a shadow of its former glory. It's not even, I don't even think it's 30 blocks anymore. It's like a couple of blocks. You got a couple of Black businesses and buildings and real estate not owned by the so-called Black business. So this is not, no, they won't never allow that to happen again, because there's always some type of interference from the state when it comes to Black self-determination. Same thing with Fred Hampton. You know, Jesse Jackson, he's suffering. May he, I hope he gets okay, because I have no problem with Reverend Jesse Jackson. And I'll talk about Jesse Jackson one day on this show. I met him a couple of times. I even interviewed him. But you look at his idea for Rainbow Coalition came from Fred Hampton when he was trying to unite all the different street tribes, the different gangs, and white, Black, Latino gangs, his Rainbow Coalition. And he was a threat because he was feeding kids before school and giving out free sickle cell testing and free health clinics. And why is he a threat? Because of that. Because when you do stuff like that, it bonds the people. You create a community, you create a movement, and you create something that cannot be controlled by the powers that be, because it's organically done. They don't want nothing organic. They don't want us to have no organic food, organic natural healing, none of that stuff. Anything organic is a threat to the system that has been created to destroy humanity, to destroy the soul of humanity. So no, they don't want Black unity. They don't want no more Black Wall Streets. Even in Beale Street, they knocked down a whole bunch of historic buildings and stuff. Beale Street was not just an entertainment district. You had thriving Black businesses like insurance companies, doctors, stuff like that. You even had some folks live on Beale Street. But Black folks, we always giving up everything just to be with the white folks, like Larry Elder. Y'all made it Larry Elder, but Larry Elder just showing you how y'all really think on the inside, a lot of y'all. Y'all want to be with white folks at all costs. Y'all willing to give up your own Black autonomy to achieve this. So they'll create an Afghan town. When the Afghanis and stuff come over here, they'll have their own little China version of Chinatown and Koreatown, but they don't want no Africa town. They don't want no more little Africa over here. No, they don't. So I don't know if that answers your question, but we can still fight for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying give up, but know what you up against. Know what you up against. I just had my cousins, they lost their home. They live in Sandy Springs, Georgia. It's a suburb outside of Atlanta, a very prosperous suburb. But the powers that be said, we want to build a highway through your backyard. We'll give y'all fair market value for your home. That's called eminent domain, where they make you an offer you can't refuse. So y'all know who the real mob is, right? It's not, it's not the Italians and that street gang, not the Black Mafia family. The real mob is U.S. government. They said, we're going to make our offer y'all can't refuse. Fair market value. Get the hell out of here. I don't care what type of upgrades were made to the property. I don't care how many family memories you have here. I don't care if y'all had the wedding here. we want this for a highway. So they got moved out of there. And they got a beautiful home now, but it's the memories. It's the things that money can't buy that make the law so much for a lot of people. But it lets you know that you don't really own anything. You think you own property, you pay taxes on it, but they could take it from you at any time. It's like you think you could rest in peace in these cemeteries. Don't you know a lot of these buildings and highways and streets are built on top of cemeteries? A lot of black cemeteries have been disrespected over the years. They just pave over blacks. They'll remove the headstone and leave the bodies in the ground, just pave over the bodies and build roads and houses and everything. See, that one I don't know about even being buried. I said, maybe I should get cremated and thrown through the winds or thrown in the water or something like that. I don't even think I'll be buried. Because that cemetery you think you resting in might be somebody's hotel room in a little bit, you know. They don't care. They don't respect black people dead or alive. Thank you. I appreciate it. We love you madly. Ditto. Bingo. Ditto. Yeah. Man, you don't own anything. We're not real owners. It's like home ownership is really renting. Right now. I mean, it is what it is, but that's just the truth of the matter. There's only a handful of people that actually own anything. Because even when the first people to get the right to vote who were white men who owned property, who really owned a stake in the corporation, everybody else didn't have a stake. You know, it's a game, it's a trick. The Nissan, yeah, I was down in Jackson recently. I mean, imagine if Nissan decides to leave Canton. You still got to play by the rules, though. I told you, look at the Eyes on the Prize documentary series, episode about community schooling, when the community was winning, and then the teacher union shut it down. The teacher union is very powerful. They shut it down. So, I mean, you still could, you can't win. See, house always win. House money always win. The house always wins. It's like when I used to go down to the casino down in Tunica, and they helping the wall the people who won money. Oh, so won 50,000. No, they didn't win 50,000. They just got back they got 50,000 or 500,000 they lost. So they might have got back 50,000, but they still lost over $400,000 in getting back 50,000. So you never really win. There's no winning. And that's what I'm saying. The only thing I can think of is we got really enough is enough. We'll make 2021, in my opinion, worse than 2020. 2020, it was like, wow, it was like a surprise, got hit, a surprise hit, 2021, we saw the playbook from last year. We still wasn't prepared. And we are giving them more rights. Just like 20 years ago with the Patriot Act, we are giving up so much of our freedom. We don't deserve to be free. We let fear control us instead of want to be free, inspire us. So this is where we at right now. Yeah, a lot of times they don't move the body, they just move the headstones. I remember it was this very historic black cemetery in DC I read about. It was in the middle of DC. And instead of them moving all the body, they just took, I guess they transported some of the bodies, they removed the headstones, and they threw them headstones in the Potomac River, I think. And they did stories on that. And you had some very notable black people. They don't care if you was a notable historic figure, they still gonna disrespect your grave, especially if you're black. So it's unfortunate. So I mean, it is what it is, man. It's been it's just wake up call. Yeah, I feel like it for me. I mean, I'm blessed to be around, but man, my social media timeline is just full of death. It was more so than it was in 2020. Just all this death everywhere. And like I said, I've been watching cemetery videos on YouTube, so there's stuff all around, man. Like I want to take a break. But I really haven't been doing too many shows because just so much, man. Mental health is important. Yeah, it's a game, man. It's rigged. And they do it all the time with the cemeteries. Like, you even go out into the country, if you got, especially in the old church cemeteries that's been abandoned, they'll start roaring over there and planting crops on the ground, planting corn and cotton and stuff. They don't care about them graves, especially if it goes unclaimed. If the church lose the land, they don't care. They just mow over the graves, put down plants and everything, and start growing crops. It's been going on for a while. Yeah, that's how I feel right now. I mean, I think we about to throw in the towel. See, like, we just gave up right now at this point with a nadir, a very low point in our history right now. Yeah, you're right about that, because I actually went with that federal building. It was built down in Manhattan. They found it was a black burial site, and I went there after they said it got about 20,000 black folks at least buried there. And they were trying to cover it up, but the ancestors refused to be silenced. This was the same week when Michelle Obama did her speech at the Democratic Convention in Philadelphia, said my house was built by slaves. That same week, I went down there to that federal building spot where they got a marker and they got a monument to the 20,000 enslaved black people that were buried on the premises. Well, you trying to, and then like they were trying to hide it, but the ancestors refused to be quiet. They were trying to actually do a cover up over those burials. But yeah, this stuff is real. Yeah, I actually went down to the Devil's Punch Bowl down in Natchez. You know, the Devil's Punch Bowl, while 20,000 black souls were forced to suffer, the Union troops put them down this pit in the Mississippi River, and they all got sick and died, and they buried them where they dropped. You know, they was buried where they dropped, but like over 10,000 black folks lost their lives in the Devil's Punch Bowl. And me and my folks went down there for my birthday weekend. I went down to the Devil's Punch Bowl on Saturday, April 24th. And it's beautiful scenery. It's a steep drop off. We was on the bluff. It's a steep drop off near the Mississippi. And I really want to go down there into the Devil's Punch Bowl, because we went there to overlook the Devil's Punch Bowl. Cause I want to get some of them peaches. I might eat the peaches, hell. I'll eat them damn peaches. But I want to go down there with a crew. But it's actually the access to bluff. It's right next to a military cemetery. Not that old, so you can just go right there. You know, it's funny because when we were trying to find the Devil's Punch Bowl, a lot of the black folks who lived there didn't know where it was at. But you could ask just about any white person, especially those that was visiting Natchez, where's the Devil's Punch Bowl? Oh, it's right down on Cemetery Road, and you go down this way. White folks be knowing about that stuff. But yeah, you could feel amazing energy and spirit down there. But 20,000 black folks lost their lives in that pit. And I look forward to going back there. And I got some footage of it. I haven't put it out yet. I got a lot of footage over the spring and summer I did that I need to put out here on this platform or some type of platform. Yeah, Natchez, Mississippi. That's right near Louisiana. Right there on the state line, right across from Louisiana. It's beautiful. It's very historical. And some people say it's haunted. It's a lot of historical places in Natchez. Yeah, I think I might eat the peach. That's my ancestors. Yeah, it's interesting with the drug things. You know, that comedian died, that Fuquan Johnson and some of his friends, and then Michael K. Williams. I wouldn't trust these drugs right now. I wouldn't trust the pharmaceutical drugs or the street drugs, because what they use to cut this stuff with is killing people. Was that like Natchez? You talking about you down in Natchez, Mississippi? Oh, okay. You're not talking about, you just talking about you in a town. Yeah, these spirits are restless right now. It's restless time. Yeah, I won't mess with these drugs. I mean, because like what they're doing right now, what people don't understand is that they're purging. It's a thinning of the herd. And people want to downplay this, but they're thinning the herd out. They're getting rid of people. They don't want to pay out on Social Security. They don't want you to take up no more Medicare, Medicaid. They want a certain segment of the population gone. They want to eliminate the middle class. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is, man. What else I said I'm going to talk about? I'll be skipping all over the place. Oh, yeah. Man, I lost a lot of people, man. Lost a lot of people. I want to give a shout out because he didn't get a lot of play. A lot of y'all, we don't know people like this. I love jazz music. I love the culture. I appreciate folks who make it their life mission to educate folks about the culture of the history of Black people. I don't care what color you are, what your creed. All I care about is your character when it comes to enlightening and empowering the masses. And I just want to give a shout out. And I'm going to do something more in depth, I guess. Oh, man. It's been, I don't know, man. I don't know. I be going on Facebook trying to wish people happy birthday, find out they've been dead. I was like, damn, they died. Damn. But anyway, let me see. How about we do another show? I feel like, man, I know I need some therapy or something. But I know I ain't the only one need therapy, though. At least I can admit that. Stuff is just crazy. I'm trying to find. It's just, man, love on your people while you can, man. Love on your people while you can, because this life is crazy. This shit is over before it began. But I want to give a shout out to this guy right here. This is Schaap. He passed away last Tuesday. New York native from Queens, from Hollis, Queens, I believe, home of Run DMC and that, you know, Hustle Simmons. But this guy was a 6-time Grammy Award-winning scholar on jazz. He wrote some award-winning jazz liner notes. He dedicated his whole life to teaching folks about the greatness of Black people through jazz. He was a big Charlie Parker fan, big, huge Charlie Parker fan for almost 50 years, probably 50 years. He used to broadcast this show called Bird in Flight. It was broadcast from Columbia University. It talks about Charlie Parker and about the history of jazz music. This guy knew a lot of the jazz greats. He actually helped a lot of the jazz greats as they got older to get gigs in New York and other places. But he, you know, if you looked at a lot of the top like jazz documentaries like Ken Burns and stuff like that, he'd be on it as a talking head. Very, very fascinating dude. And I just, that's back in 2016. I believe I was listening to Bird and Fight when I was in New York. I was staying in Brownsville at the time in Brooklyn. And I called the station and I was trying to connect with him. I said, what the hell with that? Let me go down to the station. So I caught the subway train to Columbia University, went down to the radio station, surprised him and gave him a Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Award for a lifetime dedicated to excellence in music and music education. He was surprised because one of his babysitters, now in the New York Times article, it talks about the great Joe Jones, the drummer for Count Basie, being his babysitter. But I guess he had a thing for drummers because one of his babysitters as well was Jimmy Crawford, who was the drummer for Jimmy Lunsford. Jimmy Crawford was one of the unsung swing drumming legends of the 30s and 40s. He really set the tone for swing drumming and jazz. And he started with Jimmy Lunsford. Jimmy Lunsford left Memphis. He left with Jimmy Lunsford, and they became very famous. They were the Jimmy Lunsford Orchestra. 4 years later, they was the Cotton Club House Band back in 1934 behind Cobb Calloway and Duke Ellington, and they broadcast live on radio. So they were the music idols and heroes of people like Miles Davis and Quincy Jones, the Jimmy Lunsford Orchestra from Memphis. And Jimmy Crawford was with Jimmy Lunsford for a long, long time, but he ended up becoming friends with Phil Schaap and his family. His daddy was a big-time jazz lover and promoter as well. So Jimmy Crawford used to babysit Phil Schaap, and he said they kept a letter correspondence from by the time he was the age of 11 years old to 27. But unfortunately, he lost a lot of those letters in a basement flood in his home. So he told me that himself. So I interviewed him. He was a busy man. So I'm real busy right now. I can answer your questions as I move around. I got to brush my teeth. So I was following him around the studio. It was like a movie. I just followed around the studio with my smartphone video camera rolling. And he gave me all this great information about his thoughts about Jimmy Lunsford, about jazz, and about Jimmy Lunsford's place in the pantheon of jazz greats. And I'm going to include all that in my documentary. There have been several people that have died within the last couple of years that will be featured in this documentary. Jimmy Heath, the great Jimmy Heath, died last year, right around the time when Kobe Bryant died. Phil Heath was almost 100 years old. They used to call him Little Bird because he's like, he played alto sax like Charlie Parker, sounded like Bird, ended up switching to tenor saxophone. But John Coltrane and Charlie Parker used to play in Jimmy Heath's band. So I had a chance back in 2016, around the same time I met Phil Schaap, to spend hours in the home of Jimmy Heath in Queens near the JFK airport, talking about the music, all this stuff. And Jimmy Heath said, Ron, you know a lot about our music. The only thing is that you wasn't there, but you know a lot about our history. And Max Roach said something like that to Phil Schaap in a New York. We talked about him in the New York Times interview. The great Max Roach, great jazz drumming legend, who was also the godfather of Fab Five Freddy. He said this about Phil Schaap in a New York Times article back in 2001, is that he knows our thoughts. So it mean, like, Phil Schaap, when he died, made his transition, he had a fight with cancer, and he finally succumbed. He was 70 years young last Tuesday. When he died, you could almost say a whole library died with him. But what he did, not only was he had an encyclopedic knowledge of the history of jazz music, but he also left a powerful archive behind. Because he was at Columbia, that radio station at Columbia, for 50 years. And he got his own website. And I'm going to share this website with you all, especially if you're a jazz lover like I am. And he interviewed all the greats, man, like people that played with Charlie Parker and the Duke Ellingtons and Louis Armstrongs. He interviewed the relatives, the people like Coleman Hawkins and Lester Young and Billie Holiday. He got all this good stuff. And I want to share his website with you all because I've been going through his archives, man. I've been losing a lot of people lately. And it was good to just go through his website and then check out some of the interviews he did from the 70s, right? So I'm going to share this website with you all. And I think I'm going to call it a night because it's some things I want to talk about, but I'm just right now, I'm surprised I actually got up to do this thing. But Phil Schaap, he was an interesting cat, man. It's me and him in the studio together just back in 2016. I didn't know he'd be dead. I just thank God I had enough sense to try to seize the moment and did a popcorn visit. And this is what he told me. He said, Jimmy spelled Jimmy with an I-E, not a Y, because he was very particular about that. I said, this man, when you hear his shows, he talk about, well, Charlie Parker on this date, Charlie Parker was eating a street taco. He had the mild sauce on the street taco. He was wearing a polka dot tie. He get very detailed about this stuff, about the gigs, the recording dates. He'll tell you all the little, it can get on people's nerves. He's so detailed. He was so detail oriented with the history. On this day, Charlie Parker loved white meat. And not talking about chicken. I'm talking about white women. The bird ate a lot of white meat this day. In this day in history. But seriously though, he was talking about the history. I told him I was from Memphis. He said, well, them Memphis guys had a special relationship that they really had because like people understand Memphis is a jazz town. Memphis is one of the most important jazz towns in American history. It's up there. Dare I say it's tied with New Orleans because of just all the people that came out of Memphis. I already tell y'all Louis Armstrong's wife, the one who made him a superstar, she's from Memphis, but a lot of great jazz musicians came out of Memphis. A lot of them connect. It's like Pittsburgh. A lot of y'all know that Pittsburgh got a phenomenal jazz history. So, yeah, let me share this website. His website with him that he has all these great interviews he got, and he made sure that the information didn't die with him. So I've been reminded, Brother Ron, you need to write your books, and I think I'm gonna start writing my books because I don't know how long I got on this planet anymore. I don't know if it's a marathon or a sprint, but let me just get the most out of this race and leave as much as I can behind. So this is his website. It's PhilSchaapJazz.com. Let me put that in the chat. He got a lot of great information, a lot of historic interviews. Like I said, this is about Black people. I know he's a white boy and all that stuff. Oh, he's white, but he was about giving Black folks their proper props and place in history. He's like the Howard Zinn of jazz in terms of being a great historian about the people's history of jazz. He told it like it was. So he will be missed. And I'm just glad I got a chance to meet him and honor him and to help him part of my documentary. That means a lot. So I know we was going crazy on Michael K. Williams, and much respect to Michael K. Williams, because I mean, we lost a lot of great young black men actors recently. Like not just with the brother named Chadwick Boseman, but also was another brother we lost who played in y'all know True Blood. He was a great actor that we lost. Right, see his name. Nelson Ellis. Y'all remember Nelson Ellis? He was in True Blood. We lost him back in 2017. These guys had these phenomenal talent. It reminds me of Howard Rollins. Y'all remember Howard Rollins from A Soldier Story and in the Heat of the Night TV show? Amazing talent, like generational talent that's gone too soon. It's like I look at Michael K. Williams and Nelson Ellis and Chadwick Boseman. You were generational talents. Brilliant talents gone too soon. But Michael K. made his mark. I mean, some of the greatest TV villains of all time. Omar is one of the greatest TV characters, period, of all time. And then he gave us Chalky White. Then other stuff, Lovecraft Country, so many other things he done. And you look at Chadwick Boseman, amazing actor as well. And Nelson Ellis, these guys are gone too soon. But I said, nobody knows the time nor hour. But like with Phil Schaap, he actually made his 70 years count. So I would say go to Phil Schaap Jazz. Listen to his archives. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff, man. I want to make sure, because I know people talking about Michael K. Williams, and unfortunately when people die, like even with Jimmy Walpole, I was watching some Jimmy Walpole and listening to some Jimmy Walpole, or Walpole, the rapper from Pittsburgh, got killed the same day as XXXTentacion. XXXTentacion was, he was better known than Jimmy Walpole, but he kind of like, to me, he was on his way like Pop Smoke. And I saw an interview his mama did after he died. She's a manager over his stuff. She's helping promote his legacy. And Jimmy Walpole could have been my son. I'm just like, he was born in 1997. I was like 17, like 16 or 17. I could have been his father, like a lot of these kids, XXXTentacion. And I grew up on this stuff. But what a loss, man. Like the man was actually very intelligent. He actually had a talent, but he just got caught up, man. It's like these rappers are just collateral damage from COINTELPRO. Well, now you look at Tupac, how he was compromised. You look at Jimmy Walpole. Look at all these guys. Like Biggie, they said FBI was on the scene when Biggie got shot, got popped. All these guys are just collateral damage and sacrificial lambs for the power that be. And we got to look at this hip-hop thing differently. So we went from like the message music of Marvin Gaye and Curtis Mayfield to what we got now. To me, like I said, Tupac is on the level of Marvin Gaye and Curtis Mayfield, Smokey Robinson, Bob Dylan. I could put him up there with anybody as far as lyrics. I would. And people, no, I don't think so. He's up there with the greatest. Tupac is up there with Johnny Cash. All them guys. So what a loss. But yeah. I want to shout out Phil Schaap. I ain't gonna read too much into that right now. I always revisit. I think I get this under 2 hours. I think I covered everything just about. I was going to play some extra clips, but I'll leave that alone. Let me see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hip hop is I'm starting to think that hip hop is all about COINTELPRO. Now, that's another story. But Tupac was a genius. He was, but I think hip hop is being used to, you think about it. Fred Hampton, Bunchy Carter, Stokely Carmichael, if they were alive today, they would be rappers. This hip hop, this COINTEL hip hop has turned potential revolutionaries to rappers. So you leading folks down a path of self-destruction instead of enlightenment. Imagine if King Von was with Fred Hampton back in the day. That's why they had to get rid of Fred Hampton or H. Rap Brown. Look at when somebody like the Baby say something and they want to cancel him. Say something that a lot of people thinking. He's saying what a lot of people feel and think. And he won't get canceled. You can't help, artists, the first group of people that people get rid of when they're trying to have totalitarian states. I remember our professor asked us, Giuseppe Peroni. He's dumb. Man, I lost Giuseppe, man. He was a cool Italian guy, man. He was cool. We used to bump heads like a Spike Lee movie, but when he introduced me to Sun Ra, it changed my life, man. I thank him for it, and I had a chance to say that I love him before he died. I told him I loved him the same year he died in 2013. And he told me that, but he told me, Ron, you need to leave Memphis. He saw my greatness, man. He got to go somewhere else. But I'm still in Memphis. Didn't listen. But I don't know what I'm talking about. Ooh, I forgot. Tupac is he's bigger than rap, but he's like, they gonna never, like, cats don't want to give Tupac his props. They want to rewrite the history and want to downplay the greatness of Tupac. But Tupac is here to stay. It's been 25 years, and Tupac influence is only growing. Like Michael K. Williams let y'all know that Tupac was the guy who put him on. So even if you want to shit on Tupac, you got to give him props for putting on Michael K. Williams. Shit, Tupac put Biggie on. You can't talk about Biggie without talking about Tupac. Tupac allowed Biggie to open for him. So you can't, people I want to downplay. Tupac was big before Death Row. I remember loving Tupac and his stuff when, come on the box and stuff like that. And I remember when Eazy-E died, I was at a beauty shop waiting for my grandma, I think. And this girl that was attractive teenage girl, she was saying, man, I hate that he died, but I don't want Tupac to ever die. I don't want Tupac to die. I'd be really sad if Tupac died. This is back in 95 when Eazy died in March of 95. Eazy was just 31 years old, and I still don't believe he died from what they say he died from. They killed Eazy. They killed Eazy. Man, it's just bringing these. I remember when Tupac went to prison for the so-called BS rape stuff. I remember I was at a laundromat with my mom washing clothes near our apartment. Remember these two older black men, like, I don't know, they were homeless, but they've been through some hard times. And they were playing that recent Tupac stuff on So Many Tears. They were playing it on the laundromat's radio on this, you call that, speakers. And them two old heads looked at me and said, man, that Tupac, that brother is the truth, man. God bless that brother Tupac. So Tupac my mom loved Tupac. She loved Keep Your Head Up, Dear Mama. She held that on constant rotation and repeat when we go out on road trips. Tupac was for the family. Tupac was for the community. Tupac loved our people, man. Tupac, I just wish he would have lived a little bit longer, but it is what it is. Do I see his life as a tragedy? No, I do not. Because he left a powerful contribution that we're still talking about and listening to this day. Same with Michael K. Williams. Was it a tragedy? Nope. He lived to be 54, and he was able to leave a powerful legacy of acting. His acting is phenomenal. He contributed to the culture. So as I get older now, I don't look at things as tragedy because somebody died in a tragic way. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, death could be inconvenient. It could be tragic, but I'm looking at what was left behind, the legacy. And Tupac left enough behind in his 25 years to influence generations to come. Like somebody said, he has influenced a couple of generations already. He's been dead for over a generation. So, no, I don't see it as a loss. No, they always do it. See, I have a mentor, Mr. Emerson Abel, who was I call him Jegnas. I don't call my mentors because mentors mean some homoerotica relationship from Greek and Roman time. I call them Jegnas. My Jegna, Mr. Abel, told me, "Run, nobody dies from natural death in show business." Mr. Abel worked with the Isaac Hayeses, the Otis Reddings, and Sammy Davis Jr. He told me a lot of interesting stories about how people actually died. Officially, they're unsolved, but the streets and the industry folks know what really happened. So no, nobody dies from natural death. Easy didn't have what they said he had. None of his children or his women had what they said he had. So what did he really have? See, Easy is one, to me, it's almost more tragic that Easy died than Biggie and Tupac, because the way he died, people don't want to talk about him as much. But he was a talent scout. He one of the greatest ear scouts of all time in any music genre. This man is the reason why we know of an NWA, why we do know of an Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. He put them together along with the money. Then not only that, he discovered Bone Thugs and Harmony. He discovered the Black Eyed Peas. Ain't no telling what other people he would have got to give us if he had lived long enough. Eazy-E was a unique individual. He also got that invite to the White House. Y'all forget that George H.W. Bush invited Eazy-E to the White House. He gave their people money, and he got invited to a dinner at the White House. Y'all forget about that. Y'all forget that Eazy-E, I think, spoke in defense of those cops that beat up on Rodney King. I think he did. He tried to tell people to settle down. Eazy-E was making some interesting moves. He wasn't no dummy. And I do believe that they took him out here for whatever reason. But even on Easy, he said he still got paid off of Dre Day because he had made a deal with Death Row to still get paid off of Dr. Dre. So Eazy was not a stupid business person, but maybe he got too big for his own good, as they say. But more than likely, yeah. But it's like what Denzel said in Training Day: ain't what you know is what you can prove. If you can't prove it, what's the point of you saying I know that they did it if you can't prove it, though? You gotta be able to prove it. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. These are war stories, man. You look at Otis Redding. He just had his birthday on September 9th. Otis Redding, like Mr. Abel told me, he was stupid, not because he was stupid. Otis Redding was letting people know too many of his moves. He was trying to get other artists, black artists, to be more in control of their destiny by controlling their intellectual property. He'll tell a lot of black artists, get your publishing. Don't try to get that little short money, get that long money. Because by the time Otis died, Otis had his own publishing company. He had a 300-acre ranch down in Georgia called the Big Old Ranch, where he's buried at. Otis was just 26 years old when they killed him. Otis looked older than 26, but he was an old soul, as they say, the way he sung. You can tell he'd been here before. But Otis, allegedly, according to James Brown's son, was supposed to do a distribution deal with James Brown. They supposed to have started a distribution company where they control black artists' music. And before they could do that, Otis got killed in the plane. And they said when Otis died, he had a suitcase full of like $10,000 worth of money in the suitcase. And the people who found him, they turned it in to the authorities. But the authorities claim they never got the suitcase with the money, or they can't find it, or it got misplaced. This man made $10,000 in 1 or 2 nights of touring. The average police salary during that time, I believe, was like $5,000 a year. and he had like 10,000 on him, and he's a dead man. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? $10,000, he can't spend it. He dead. So they took it off his hands. They never, returned it to the family or whatever. The alleged $10,000 in the suitcase. But Otis was making moves about trying to control black music. This same thing what happened. Think about what happened some decades later with Suge Knight, Irv Gotti, and Jay Prince. They was trying to create a distribution company that controls the black music, to distribute black music. And that's really where the money at. You control the talent, you control the distribution. Because what's the point of it making an album or some music if you can't get it in front of people or getting in people's smartphones or CD players or whatever? So, this power, like y'all talking about, would they ever allow us to have a Black Wall Street? You gotta be willing to fight for what you want. I remember I was on a tour of New York City. They said that Michael K. Williams was found in his penthouse or his condo dead in Williamsburg. There's a lot of Orthodox Jews that live in Williamsburg. And I remember we did a tour. I took a bus tour of Brooklyn back in December of 2013. You hear a lot of Orthodox Jews, whatever they had, they got the beard and the curls and the hat. And the tour guide was saying, like, because on every block there was a academy, a school, along with a school bus on every block. And he talked about how the Jews in Williamsburg they were insular, they were insulated. They had their own culture. They controlled their education. They controlled their economics. They controlled everything. They had what we call a community. That's something we as Black people don't have. We have neighborhoods, like we have groups and neighborhoods. We don't have community. Community implies control over resources, over access and distribution of resources. We don't have that as so-called Black people. We have neighborhoods. So you're saying a lot of times, a lot of these people don't go to school outside of it. All their education is inside their community. So like you never hear about police brutality in their community because they control their economics, they control their education, and they control their law enforcement. You don't hear about Jews getting beat up by police in Williamsburg. You hear about Black folks getting beat up by police in Brooklyn and Staten Island and New York, Memphis, St. Louis, but you never hear about no Jewish folks getting beat down by some police up in Williamsburg. And you remember last year when they had that big Jewish funeral and de Blasio tried to shut it down, the mayor, and them Jews shut them down. They said, you ain't gonna shut down our funeral. I don't give a damn if it's a pandemic or Jesus coming back. You ain't gonna shut down our shit. See, that's what you call real power. Like the incident where Malcolm marched all the Muslims and Black people to the police station to ensure that their brother got treatment, that got beat down. And it actually was a law enforcement person. From my understanding, it said there's too much power for one person to have to that extent. Malcolm had them folks. They don't want that. That's why they destroy Black males. That's why they effeminize Black. They don't want Black men in charge like that. Malcolm was trying to get the drugs out the community. That's why they want to read, like James Farmer believed that he was killed by the gangsters connected to the French Connection because he was trying to get the drugs out the Black community. And they killed Malcolm. And now Malcolm had a relationship with Bumpy Johnson. When you look at the Godfather of Harlem, it's fictional, it's historic fiction. Because they got Bumpy Johnson like he was running stuff. Really, Bumpy Johnson 10 Harlems, that wasn't his idea. That was Frank Matthews from North Carolina. Frank Matthews did that actually. He went against the mob. He found his own connection outside the French connection. He found it in South America, in Venezuela. He disappeared with like $15 to $20 million back in the 70s. But he was living next door to Paul Castellano, the future mob boss of the Gambino crime family in Staten Island. The same Staten Island where they killed Eric Gardner for Lucy's. You got all them gangsters, them La Cosa Nostra people living in mansions. The biggest criminals don't even get touched by the police in Staten Island. They killed some dude selling some loose cigarettes. But Frank Matthews was that guy. Y'all didn't look at that. Frank Matthews is the real Black Caesar. He organized Black gangsters on the East Coast and like Midwest. He was before Big Meech and the Black Mafia family. Look at Frank Matthews. He disappeared back in the 70s. But Malcolm was, man, it's so much to Malcolm that we still don't understand. A lot of stuff that we think about with Malcolm is all that posturing in front of the camera. He was making moves outside the camera. He was connecting us with different countries within Africa. He's trying to give us some backup. See, Malcolm was a threat. Malcolm was protesting the Vietnam War before it was popular to protest the Vietnam War, before Dr. King came to his senses about the Vietnam War. So there's a lot of things we don't even understand. And like I said, we're not interested in history, because if you knew real history, a lot of y'all be really angry for the right reason. A lot of y'all get mad because your favorite YouTuber doing ratchet stuff. I don't care about that. There's a lot to be really mad about that you got to study to know what you should be mad about. And Larry Elder is nobody or nothing to be mad about, in my opinion, because a lot of y'all think like Larry Elder. That's the whole problem with the I'm mad at Larry Elder stuff. Y'all think like him. So I think that does it. I can talk about anything. I think I covered some of the things. I got rest in peace to Phil. Oh, yeah, before I go. Before I let you go, I gotta get a shout out to a friend I lost. Good brother. And it's been depressing, man. Brother here, Mark, my brother Mark, good family friend. He passed away. He lost his battle with double pneumonia and the C word and cancer. You know, the UV, that going around. He lost his fight with that Thursday night. I was feeling off and awful all of Thursday, and I found out why my mama called me and said he lost his battle. And I really was hoping for him to pull through. I had a chance when I going through my own health struggles to talk to him for some encouragement earlier this year around May. And I never thought that'd be my last time speaking with him. Now, it'd been a while since I spoke with him. He used to come to St. Louis to visit me in college with my mom, and he was always a good-natured guy, always had a good thing to say about everybody. You never knew the pain he was going through. He had a lot of long-time illnesses and stuff like that, but he never really complained to us. He always was a person that was very cheerful and thoughtful and very giving. And I just offer my condolences, my amplified, sincere condolences to his sister and his mom. And I look forward to paying my respects this upcoming weekend. Brother Mark, sorry you had to go out like this, man. I really believe you deserve better. There's so many people that we are losing, and it's giving me so much clarity what I need to do moving forward as far as my life and taking better care of me. So I just want to thank you for being a positive black man, because I don't know your struggles like that, but brother, all you offer us were love and overstanding. So I hope you get the rest that you finally deserve. Gone way too soon, man. You were just like 55. So yeah. So I'm sorry to hear about that. And man, I stayed up. I couldn't go to sleep after that. I ended up driving to Mississippi and meeting Bobby Rush. And Bobby Rush said, "You came out here for me?" I said, "Yeah, man." And I signed my books, man. Yeah, but Bobby Rush. And we're gonna honor Bobby Rush in October for the Jimmy Lunsford Jamboree Festival homecoming court ceremony. We moving on up, y'all. The festival is getting bigger and stronger. The ceremony is gonna be at the Halloran Theater, which is next to the Orpheum, downtown Memphis, near Beale Street. October 31st, Halloween night, 5 to 8 p.m. We're gonna be honoring our king, homecoming court king, Bobby Rush, Dr. Bobby Rush, the blues great. This man's almost 90 years old and still running around and jumping around, moving like a young man. Brilliant performer, consummate, amazing harmonica virtuoso, guitar virtuoso, great voice, great song. He just won a couple of Grammys. He just now got put on the Tonight Show. He never went on Tonight Show as a guest, I think, for Johnny Carson, nothing like that. But Jimmy Fallon brought him on. And, you know, Jimmy Fallon got in trouble for wearing blackface back in the day. But Bobby Rush is one of the last of the rabbit foot minstrels. So Bobby Rush used to wear blackface back in the day. Bobby Rush is a American treasure. He is a music icon like no other. So we are looking forward to honoring Dr. Bobby Rush Halloween night. And also Miss Bev Johnson, a great radio personality at WDIA, which was the first black radio formatted radio station in the country back in 1948. And Sister Bev Johnson has put it down, has been the voice of the people for a whole time, for a long time, rather, for a couple of decades. And so she's our queen. Our princess is opera singer and music educator extraordinaire, Sister Valletta Brinson. She's got our princess, and our princess, the fabulous Tim Prees. Tim Prees, who I like the Temptations of Memphis, dedicated to the one I love. That's the soundtrack for The Quiet Storm. Y'all Google Dedicated to the One I Love by the Tim Prees. They're our princess. And they're going to be performing, like everybody's going to be performing. We got some special guests, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central, Hollering Theater, downtown Memphis, Halloween night. We're going to be live streaming it too. So we're getting better and better as time marches on. So I'm saying, like, I'm not just on here running my mouth. I'm actually doing work in the community and amplifying our legacies out here and trying to educate the public about the greatness of Black people, about the greatness of Memphis, about the greatness of just people daring to be great. So I'm looking forward to that time in the sunshine. Actually, it'll be at night, I guess, because it get dark early now. When it comes to fall, you know, you get close to the fall. So I think they'll wrap it up. Thank you all for being patient. Well, I know one thing. I heard a thing where when people die in August, that means they're coming back because they got unfinished business and they die in August. I don't know. The death thing is interesting because what Tupac said, his only fear of death is reincarnation. And Tupac going on where Tupac lives beyond death. He cheated death because we're still talking about Tupac and listening to his music. And he still is inspiring people. So I don't even think, in the bigger scheme of things, death is really important. I think people need to just live their lives and be productive, not just busy, but be productive and living lives that have meaning and purpose. And it's not for everybody to understand or understand what that meaning and purpose is. It's for you to just find some understanding and meaning and understanding and living a life that you want on your terms and be willing to pay for that. So thank you, sister, for that insight. And the marathons continue. See, but let me read this disclaimer. I know it's much of me talking, but yeah, check out the Art of Dialogue if you want some great Tupac stories and interviews about the legacy of Tupac. Life goes on. Disclaimer, the views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. Thank you all for not just for tuning out to tune in to get in where you fit in. How we gonna do it? And people be asking me, well, where you get your theme music from? Jesus, I'll be posting it, but let me just do y'all this favor. I played it at the beginning. It's Watercolors by John Daly. I'm going to play it going out of here. And we're going to be done with that. But thank y'all for tuning in or tuning out to tune in to get in where you fit in. This is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Once again, We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. And we're going to put y'all out here on the right note. Let's see. Any last words? Thank y'all, Black Voltron Reload. Dang it, support the movement because knowledge is the currency of the universe, but I still got to pay my bills. You can buy Art of His Art, r2c2h2.com. You can wear Art of His Art. Below the description box, the shelf to our Teespring official account, R2C2H2's place. You can access that, buy you some gear to wear. You could donate to the donation, Cash App, $R2C2H2. That's Cash App, $R2C2H2. You see it right here. Cash App, $R2C2H2. You could Google Pay, PayPal, or Zelle your support at our email address, r2c2h2@gmail.com. Once again, that's r2c2h2@gmail.com. You can Vimo your support at r2c2h2. That's Vimo your support at r2c2h2. Thank y'all so much. Thank you to the moderators, Black Voltron Reloaded, and all the other people. Sister Sunshine, trying to give you some attention. Let you know I be thinking about you. Yes, thank you, Brother Emmanuel Healthy. Love you, Matt Lee. Yeah. Get y'all Buddhism on. I see talking about some Buddhism. I know Herbie Hancock, one of Miles Davis' associates, he's a Buddhist. I lost a friend this year. He was a Buddhist who was a friend of Herbie Hancock. Jesus Christ. Okay. Let's play some happy music. Thank you. I mean, it's good to be back. Earn them brownie points. To live and die in L.A. is the place to be. Okay. Watercolors by John Daly. Y'all have a great night.